JennyCam. And we're here. Right, let's go inside. Hi there, welcome along to another video. We're here at Hattons in Widnes, and they've been very kind to let me come here and film and offer to show me around. So we're here in their storefront, and you can see they've got all the models on display. It's great here, it's a real mecca of model railway goodness. But here with me today, we've got Jack Morgan, who works here at Hattons, and it's very kindly offered to show us around. So I'm sure you're going to be looking forward to the tour as well. So let's get on it, shall we? Well, Jack and I talked for a bit about the old shop on Smithdown Road. Now, I remember going back there to all the way back to 1988, I think was the first time I got taken by my father. So we used to go to the really old shop that was like a real Aladdin's cave of stuff. And then we talked a little bit as well about the slightly newer Smithdown Road shop, the former sofa shop, I believe it was. And it was really good to be able to trade some stories about memories of Hattons in days gone by.
Oh, right, no problem. It's just the
old Daco jackets.
I'd have to
Health and safety first. And remember, kids, always get somebody to hold the ladder for you. Jack then took me backstage, as it were, in Hattons, into the warehouse area. And this was actually quite amazing to see. I've never seen this side of the business before, but it was so well organised. And he explained to me about how they actually do their stock control. And it was interesting that it wasn't how you might expect, with everything very neatly, meticulously organised by catalogue number and manufacturer. But instead, stuff was just put in these boxes in the order that it comes into the factory in. And then the computer knows where everything is. And all the time there were members of staff wandering around with these sort of wrist-mounted scanners, and the computer was telling them exactly where they needed to go in the most efficient possible way to pick things for orders. And it was interesting to find out there's around 70 people work at Hattons, so a far cry from the days of Smithdown Road. But just peering into some of these boxes, it was interesting at the really quite eclectic mix of stuff that was in there. But Jack did assure me that actually this was the most efficient way of doing it, and I believe him. Certainly they were processing anywhere from around 500 orders, anywhere up to maybe even a couple of thousand on the really busy days. So certainly it's a system that's working out for them. And it was really a privilege to be able to see all this at work.
So it's pretty much all the same here. So it's racking that goes on for ages. It's just stuff everywhere. Yeah, we're really excited what we're doing with the likes of you guys coming in. So we're more than happy to, see a lot of YouTubers.
I like. It's like when I used to do book signings, and you go into a Waterstones, and it say like signing today, acclaimed author Jennifer Kirk. And I'd always come in and go, oh,
And then this is the upstairs part of the warehouse. So this is the bulk storage area. So obviously things like toilet rolls.
Well, like you said, there's 70 people working here, so stuff like that you don't want to run out of.
That's it, and we do where it doesn't really need to be, mega accessible in a warehouse or anything like that. So we keep stuff like that here, and then in the back there you can see got train sets and some of the larger kind of size items. But we have little lift systems that quite easily bring stuff up and down from downstairs. But I'll just bring you through.
Presumably you've had people trying to sell you some very, very outlets. I mean, has anybody ever tried to sell you, like proper locomotives or anything like that?
I'm pretty sure once someone tried to sell like a 5 1/4 inch gauge loco or something like that to us. It was like, we don't actually think of working as full size locomotives technically, but we never know what we're gonna get. It's just the randomness of stuff is amazing, really. So more American outline stuff we can get through pre-owned collections and things, and continental Europe stuff.
Playmobil, I didn't even realise that they made...
Yeah, me neither. That's the first time I've actually seen that myself.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid I had the Playmobil Pirate Galleon, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
It even floated in the bath. I was really pleased with that. But I didn't... If I'd have known that they did trains and that, I wouldn't have messed about asking for the Pirate Galleon for Christmas. I'd have got...
Yeah, I never knew that. That's...
Yeah.
I'll show you in here. So this is where...
Is this the...
This is the photo studio, and well, it's our stock processing studio. So this is where all of our photos for the website get taken, and where all our pre-owned collections get sorted through. So
right. So every single item when it comes in
gets a fresh photo. So this is one of the biggest studios we have.
Right. So they just so. That could then be.
we actually have some much better studios over there, which we use for like the smaller. Well, pretty much every item goes in these small studios, and then this is like the sort of bulk studio for when we have like giant like train sets or own gauge stuff or stuff like that. So just so we've got a backup for if we need more space to shoot. So whack these lights on, and then that just lights up, and that's how we get the photos for the site. So we've got our sort of like test track over here as well for.
So this is when stuff comes in second hand.
Any pre-owned stuff comes in, it all gets tested to make sure what condition it's in. So we post it on the website.
Right.
Our checkers over here as well, so that's where everything gets checked on these stations. Right. And then we've got our main photo studios here, so that's where all the new product photos on the website are done. Really. So it's just like a little pop-up box with a light box inside it.
Right.
7 Canon cameras on it, and then they all have some computers. So it's you can use the viewfinder on the computer, and then that takes a picture, and then it just gets uploaded straight. We've got an in-house system that just uploads them straight. You're probably going to recognise this if you've seen any of our videos.
I've seen a few actually. Yeah. So this is.
Sorry, this is Johnny who does our video editing and filming at the moment.
Hey, right.
So this is the famous Hattons test track.
Right,
so this is where all our stuff gets tested. All our exclusive products get tested in here, and we film all of our YouTube videos in here as well.
Right.
What you see in there is actually that's not actually being shown off at all anyway. Yeah, that's one of the new samples for the 66.
Right, so that's like fresh from the factory.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's the Freightliner Power Hall variants. We've not actually shown that off yet, so it's a bit of a sneak preview for you.
Oh, right. So when's that going to hit the market and be available to buy?
Currently slated at August for those.
August?
Yeah.
Right.
But this one's fully fitted with DCT sound and everything.
So that's the full mileage there with...
That's it. Right. But it's fully detailed and with it's got the etch nameplate on there and stuff like that. So there's a few caveats with this one because obviously it's a sample from the factory, so there's a couple bits like grills missing and the lights flicker a little bit and stuff like that, but obviously that'll be rectified on the final.
I mean, Ali Pally, I got to review the Rails Terrier, and that came with the same caveats because it was effectively the pre-production. So but that's really nice to see. I mean, I'm not a modern image person, but that is a really nice model.
Most people, when we show it to them, it's like even people who aren't interested, just like it's just a good model anyway. So
it's got a real presence to it. That's
absolutely.
The thing. With some models, certainly going way back, I always found you looked at them and they looked like a toy.
Yeah. But
with that, it looks like somebody's just put a shrink ray over the real chair.
We do have as well. This is one of the samples for our O-Gauge Classic 3. So that's probably the latest sample we've got.
Yeah, I've seen these. So this is a sample rather than production.
Yeah, so this is just a painted sample. It's not actually motorised, it's one or anything like that, unfortunately, so I can't have it.
Right.
That's Flying Scotsman in LNR green, so that's in the original condition.
Right, and again, when are these likely to be available?
They're due this summer, so
right.
The A3s are coming into stock first, and then we'll have the A4s following on from that.
Right.
We've got the coaches coming through as well.
I'm very interested to see those. And is that going to have to the same sort of standard that we've seen from Hornby when they first brought out their teak coaches, where it had the
it's something we've really worked on, and I think we've actually just got some fresh samples of the teak finish. So it's printed And it's we're really striving for like a good because it's it's teak. You've got to get it right.
I know it's an area that Hornby came in for a lot of criticism, where they it almost felt like they tried to cut the cost of production with their teak finish, and it came in for such criticism. So I think with teak, it's very much make or break.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's something that people really want.
Yeah. Well, they're iconic coaches, and
there's nothing else like it really. So you've got to
definitely,
We've rated it for I think 4-foot curves. But it can actually go around like 3.6 because I think this is like the tightest radius, like set track ones, and that's the tightest radius.
Right.
So
because they're actually
on that fine.
That's actually what I built my garden railway out of. I figured if I make the curved set track, I'm not going to get any little kinks.
Yeah.
And anything should be able to get around. So it should
it'll be fine on that. Yeah, because it's fine on here.
Right. So I take it with all the point work, that's purely about assessing reliability and going
pretty much so. One thing that I actually tell people is that this is purposely not that great track. We've done a mixture of like there's express points on here, and it's supposed to emulate rougher conditions to put stuff through its paces. So even with the likes of the Barclay and the P class, we had them go around on these like more difficult points to make sure that like they could like handle like conditions where likely they're not going to be, hopefully, but it's you never know when they're going to be running. So,
but if it works on this,
it should work anyway.
So you've got set track points here, you've got streamline points here.
Yeah, and some are with the some of them have got electrofrog on them, but then some of them have got quite big dead zones.
That's
so it's just to give it a bit of a mixture of running.
Yeah, because something with a small, short wheelbase 4-wheel, the Insulfrog, especially the set track ones with this huge lump of plastic, is really the zone where they're going to struggle.
But especially with the Barclay and the B class, we never really had problems with them doing those points, which was a remarkable thing, really.
This is actually run really reliably. I've done exhibitions with it, and the layout I've got is all point work, and I've got double slips, 3-way points. There's a mix of Electrofrog and Insulfrog because I was a cheapskate when I built it and I recycled all the track from other things. And I've never had a problem with it. It's just gone through, even at silky smooth, slow speeds. Whereas some of the other locomotives I've got, like the old ex-Daypole L&Y Pug, is a nightmare. It's not really usable, and it shows how much the design works come on to allow a locomotive that's pretty much the same size to run so reliably through that kind of track.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable to me still. I'm still amazed at what performance we were able to get out of it.
And it's the weight as well. When you feel the weight on that, you manage to get so much in a tight space. I DCC chipped this, and actually I found it one of the easier locos to chip. When I went DCC, you very quickly learn to hate a lot of things like Helgen locos for DCC chipping, because when you're trying to dismantle them, it's like they've put them together in a factory and gone, hey, let's see how well they get through this without all the bits falling off. And I still to this day haven't managed to chip a Helgen one, but with this, it just couldn't have been simpler. Like a couple of screws, pop out a couple of pipe details, and it just drops straight out. And the thought that's gone into even how the chip sort of clips in place so it doesn't catch when you put it back in, it's just brilliant.
It's the sort of thing we factor in from day one with our exclusives, really. It's just making everything, as easy as it can be, really. Definitely, so there's always going to be little things with, bits of detail that are going to be a little bit tricky, but we, try our best to make it as easy as possible. Even with the 66s, it's going to be quite an easy DCC installation. Right. And obviously you can buy those pre-fitted or pre-sound fitted as well.
I've seen on your website, there's the 3 different options. You can just have the straight DC, you can have DCC chip but no sound, and then you've got the sound option as well.
Yeah.
And I take it that you've gone out and sourced your own sound files as well. So
they're all custom made, so it's in partnership with Lego Man Bitho for the sounds for those. So it's it's all custom done.
Are there actually sound? Because it's just showing my ignorance of Class 66s. Do different 66s sound different, or is they all?
It's generally the same. There's 2 sort of. The major variation of the 66s is there's a low emission version, which was produced a bit later, and that has this is a I suppose you call it a high emission one, so that's an older one really. So the low emission ones have like a smaller fuel tank,
right,
and I think a slightly different exhaust, and they have like a third door in the middle and things like that.
right.
I believe that, don't quote me on this, but they are a little bit of a different sound, but we've catered for the sort of they basically make the same sound.
Right.
But I can probably show this off if you want.
Yeah, actually, I mean that'd be lovely to get it running. And you said this is the full DCC sound version.
Yeah, I'll just see. So it does the full start procedure as well, so it actually takes a bit of time to get it up and running.
It's like flickering.
There's a little, as I say, this one's a bit of a early sample, so it's got a few issues with like the...
Oh, he set the car alarm on. Actually, the bass is really good. I'm touching this, I can feel the
I was just going to say, if you touch it, you can feel it throb, really, so...
That is actually amazing, the bass coming out of that, because certainly with some of the sound locos I've fitted, it's really difficult to get the most out of the sound, because they're just tiny little speakers.
That's
but
it.
with that...
Well, with this, it's, you know,
I feel
it's such a powerful, huge freight loco, it needs that... They're so loud in real life, and so it needed that kind of. We've actually got this is another early sample here, so this is the actual inside.
So that's
how
the
big the
inside
speaker is. So it's quite a large speaker that we managed to fit in here. We dedicated a lot of space to it, and you can see this is all metal, so it weighs an absolute ton.
Right. Oh gosh.
So,
that is very heavy.
So I mean, the pulling power of these things is unbelievable.
And I presume there's like a cavity in there to give it that bass resonance.
Yeah, so it's got a bit of a resonance chamber in there at the bottom, and it's quite well sealed. So
very heavy. I mean, that.
It still shocks me now. I pick them up, and it amazes me.
Yeah, because when you think it's got the speaker, the sound, everything's in there, and yet you still found the space to put one heck of a lot of weight on that. And I presume it's all-wheel drive as well. So
all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup, so the performance of it is...
I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, it'll go up the side of a house with that amount of weight and traction.
Yeah. Which are very loud.
Yeah, you can feel it coming through the resonating at the bass board. That's now going up a gradient as well, and it's just doing it like it's not even...
On quite an awkward curve as well.
Yeah, because they always say when you lay track, you certainly wouldn't do that if you were going for reliable running, and yet that's just taken straight up.
This is just purely stress test, really.
Yeah.
And you get some interesting camera shots as well.
One thing I've always wanted to ask, I really fancy getting a live steam SM32 loco for my garden, but will it run on the O-gauge track? Or have you ever put that to the test? Narrow gauge loco on the O-gauge track?
I don't know. I don't know what that one.
Somebody said to me that the flanges might be a bit too big and it'll sort of bump along the rail chairs, but I didn't want to buy an expensive loco.
Yeah, to find out later. Yeah, I'm not too sure about all myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out.
But, I've also noticed down there you've got the coaless rail lid. I presume that's from this.
Yeah, so that's... I think
that already on
this
the
was
market?
like a hand-painted sample. So all of the 66s are going to come out in August. So we have none of them have been released just yet. So this was like a very early painted sample, but this is just for testing the different speakers and things that we're creating.
Right.
And then obviously that's one of the actual factory painted samples.
Right.
But there's plenty. Near enough the whole range is in the shop to see as well at the moment, so we've got about 27 versions in the shop.
When I was at Ali Pally, you had them all in the display.
Yeah, so they're all the ones from there,
So is there, once you've done the 66 project, have you got another project in the works for what loco is going to follow them? Or
I mean, there's plenty of projects sort of like that we're planning on saying. There's nothing I can really talk about here. But we've not announced anything just yet, but I mean, sort of wait and see. So we've got plenty of ideas for the future. Obviously, we've had the railway treatment trains and the FEA wagons come through recently. We've got big O-Gauge A3 and A4s due in the summer. And we've got our Engage Beta Garrett project, which is underway, and also our double O-Gauge GPC train that's underway as well. So there's various projects that are still ongoing. So we're working through stuff, and then potentially, don't know, might be seeing more in the future.
And are you planning things like more livery versions of the Andrew Barclay or the P class, or have you reached a point where?
At the moment, it's a case of never say never, really. With the P class, we did another run with the RMT livery.
Yes, I did see that.
And a couple more in the SECR ones.
Yeah.
So it's a case of it's still through, and if the demand's there, we'll definitely look into it.
So I know the SECR, the wartime austerity grey one, sold out
very quickly.
So are there any plans to say do another run of those with different runs?
Possibly, if the demand's there for it, if enough people really want it, we'll definitely always look into that something. We're always on the lookout for it. What people really want to see. So.
And what actually makes you pick a particular model? Is there a process that makes you think we'll do the Andrew Barclay rather than say a Peckett W1 or something like that?
There's quite a lot of different things that go into it, really. So we take in a lot of different bits of data and all sorts of market research that kind of formulates what we're going to do. So we have ideas there, and we utilise like poll data and sales data of other locomotives, and then just general sort of even just qualitative information. Like when we go to exhibitions, we people come up to us and say, "Oh, really always wanted you to do such and such," and that even just things like that, it all adds up to say, will this project be viable, sort of thing. So even with the likes of what we did the PDAB, it was all based on the data we had and just information people just come and say to us, to do.
And that's the thing, if you go into lots of different shows and lots of different people keep coming up to you and talking about the same type of logo, saying they really wish there'd be a model there, there's got to be something in that, I guess.
Yeah.
But then how do you pick the liveries? Because that then becomes like a whole new kettle of worms as to whether, is this going to be a popular livery, or are people going to want this? Is there a process for choosing the liveries?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So the rationale that we usually go for is to have to try and cover as much of the lifespan of the logo as possible, and to get the stuff that it's going to be likely to be more appropriate for people's layouts.
Right.
So with the Barclay, you've got such a massive range of liveries there because they just work everywhere.
Yeah.
So we try to get liveries that represent different areas of the country. So you've got your NTB Grain and CPC in the sort of northwest area, and then you've got your Caledonian Railway, which is like Preservation Scottish, and then BR Black, everything. So it enables a bit of a mixture for different locations across the country, so different layouts can get involved. But then there's also different eras showcased there as well. So you've got like your British Railway era ones, you've got your very late industrial ones, and everything in between, really.
Yeah, there's stuff like the Burnley gas ball.
Yeah.
And some of these, it's almost like a learning experience for the modeler. When I look at it, I think, wow, I never knew about that.
Yeah,
and it kind of opens people's eyes to imagine, like, oh yeah, I could build a layout set around X, Y, Z place. And sometimes, for me, seeing the locomotive becomes the nucleus around which the idea for a model sort of coalesces.
Well, I'd like to extend a big thank you to Hattons for inviting me down there to give me an Access All Areas tour. And it was really interesting to find out about the new models that they have planned, and also to get a little bit of an insight into the way that their models are chosen, researched, that kind of thing. They're doing some really great work there, and I look forward to seeing developments as they come through. But thank you again for inviting me there to show me around. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon, and a huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Mark Anthony, Michael Churchwood, Bob Threeton, Alec Ralph, Anthony Hunt, William Wade, Wayne Johns, and Offshore Alan. If you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk. Thank you. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knob T. Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.